You would have to agree that solving this particular problem is like baking a cake. It requires the right ingredients, a bit of precision, and the end result is pretty sweet. I think that looking at each test question this way would be like looking at baking a piece of mosaic of your knowledge, contributing to the bigger picture of your abilities. In this question, you're presented with the set of gears, and you need to determine the direction of the last gear. Your choices for answers are choice A, CW, choice B, CCW, choice C, no movement, and last but not least, choice D, depends on X. Feeling challenged by this question? I totally understand. Remember though, that you are not navigating this path alone. Whether you're a problem-solving expert or a newcomer, I have full faith in your capabilities. Take a moment to gather your thoughts, tap into your imaginative side, and let's triumph over this challenge together. Your solution is almost ready and is definitely within reach. Are you ready with your solution? I hope you are. So let's move forward and compare our versions of the answer. Together, we will unravel the complexities of this assessment test question. I'll ask you for a favor though, and specifically to share your thought process in comments. Your insights might hold the key for all of us to learn and improve. To solve this question, we need to identify which gear is the input, which one is connected to the power source, and which one is the output gear, the final gear that performs the desired task. In the next step, we need to identify the direction of rotation for each gear. Gears can rotate clockwise. This is where abbreviation CW comes from, or counterclockwise. This is what CCW stands for. Let's solve this challenge by following the transfer of rotation from one gear to another. Our first input gear is rotating in clockwise direction. As you might be well aware, when rotation is transferred to another gear, it will be rotated in the opposite direction, which would be counterclockwise. Let's follow the directions for each gear. Input 1 is clockwise, then counterclockwise, clockwise again, counterclockwise again, clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, and the output gear is rotating in clockwise direction. Let me show you alternative way how you can solve it faster. For example, if the number of gears in between input and output is odd, the last gear will rotate in the same direction as input gear. On the other hand, if the number of gears is even, the last gear will rotate in the opposite direction from the first gear. Let's look at the example. Let's look at the odd number of gears. The simplest odd number is 1. The rotation is transferred from input clockwise to the next gear counterclockwise and then to the output, which would be clockwise again. On the other hand, if there is an even number of gears in between input and output, and the smallest even number is 2, you see how rotation converts from input clockwise to the opposite to input counterclockwise at the output gear. With this in mind, let's solve this challenge alternative way. Let's count number of gears in between input and output. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gears. And since there are 7 gears in between input and output gears, which is odd number, the direction of output gear will be the same as the direction of the input gear. So the correct answer here is choice A, CW, clockwise. I have to admit the truth. Figuring out this question is like convincing a toddler to share their toys. It requires a delicate balance of persuasion, some strategic thinking, and most likely few moments of pure chaos. Speaking about chaos, here in this question, we need to figure out 2 answers instead of just 1 answer. Let's look at the specifics. You're presented with 3x3 matrix. Matrix has numbers inside. The numbers in the first row are 32, 17, and 63. In the second row, numbers are 25, 64, and 81. And in the third row, there is only 1 number, and 2 numbers are missing, which you need to calculate and select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 181. Choice B, 144 and 100. Choice C, 64 and 36. And last but not least, choice D, 25 and 100. If you think that convincing toddler to share their toys is easier, think again. Don't get discouraged here. We support each other in this channel, and I have full confidence that you can solve it. Just make sure to give yourself enough time to solve this particular challenge. Are you ready? Because I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. If you haven't noticed, staying open-minded is something we teach you on this channel. And the key consideration here is that information might be misleading. I presented the data as rows 1, 2, and 3, but the calculations are happening in the columns 1, 2, and 3. You always need to consider that possibility. You also need to consider that layered calculations could be involved. Layered would mean that one calculation would be happening after another. For example, you can have addition as well as squared. And in fact, the calculations are organized in columns here. And the sum of numbers squared in the top row leads to the calculated value in the next row. Let's look at the example in the first column. 3 plus 2 squared equals 5 squared and equals 25. 2 plus 5 squared equals 7 squared and equals 49. In the second column, the values are calculated as 1 plus 7 squared equals 8 squared and equals 64. 6 plus 4 squared equals 10 squared and equals 100. And if you haven't noticed, we just calculated the first missing value, 100. So let's jump to the third row. In the third row, the calculations are 6 plus 3 squared plus 9 squared equals 81. And the missing value in the third row is calculated as 8 plus 1 squared equals 9 squared and equals 81. Pay attention and notice that the third column has two numbers, 81. Make sure you verify your calculation and avoid confusion. So the correct answer here is choice A, 181. With this question, get ready for the mental marathon. Solving this puzzle is a little longer than the wait for your pizza delivery, but you will enjoy it as much as the freshly made pizza. You're presented with the sequence of numbers. The numbers are 21, 35, 41, 59, 61, 83, and then comes the missing number, which you need to calculate and select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 81. Choice B, 85. Choice C, 87. And last but not least, choice D, 89. Inspect it with precision to uncover the hidden answer. Give yourself enough time to make sure you can solve the challenge. Are you ready? Let's dive in and unravel this challenge together. I'll share with you my solution, and if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. What's interesting about this problem is that all numbers you see on the screen are multiples of 11, with 2 different arithmetic operations applied based on the sequence. Let's look at the existing items to better understand the sequence. For example, the first number is calculated as 11 multiplied by 2 minus 1, which equals 21. The second number is calculated as 11 multiplied by 3 plus 2, which equals 33 plus 2, which equals 35. The first number is 11 by 4 minus 3 equals 41. Then comes 11 multiplied by 5 plus 4 equals 59. Then we multiply 11 by 6 and subtract 5, and the result equals 61. 11 by 7 plus 6 equals 83, and the missing number is calculated as 11 multiplied by 8 minus 7, which is 88 minus 7, which is 81. So the correct answer here is choice A, 81. It's time to grab your favorite thinking snack. Preferably not too crunchy though, as we're trying to focus here, because we're about to tackle a question that is challenging as resting to urge to eat the cookies. You're presented with 5 squares, and 6 square is missing. Obviously, there's a pattern here, and once you determine the pattern, you need to select your answer out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. I think I'm ready to share with you my answer. But remember, as we embark on this intellectual adventure, remember sharing answers is caring. But I'll totally understand if you want to keep your genius strategy as a secret and not share it in comments. To better understand the answer, let's add 3 columns. Columns 1, 2, and 3. What you probably already know by now is that the picture in the third column, column 3, is a result of the combination of merging the first two columns, columns 1 and 2. There are two merging rules applied here. Let's start with the small square in the first row in the upper left corner. The small square is darker color. In the second column, the small square is also dark, so when we merge dark color and dark color, we end up with the white color. And the second merging rule is that if colors for the locations are different, it becomes a darker color. To answer the question, knowing these rules, all you need to do is switch to the row 2 and determine the combination for the column 3. So the correct answer here is choice C, which is a result of the combining small squares in second row for columns 1 and 2. Do you know what time is it? It's time for your solo quest through this maze of the intellect. And keyword here is solo. Solving this question, though, is like navigating through the maze blindfold, challenging, a bit disorienting, and probably not recommended. You're presented with the sequence of numbers, and you need to calculate the missing number. The numbers you see are 14, 17, 28, 11, 41, 71, 82, and then comes the missing number, which you need to calculate and select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 95. Choice B, 72. Choice C, 11. And last but not least, choice D, 10. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Once you solve this challenge independently and conquer the maze, you need to share your victorious solution in comments. I am eager to review them and provide you with my feedback. Thanks for participating and good luck solving this challenge. Believe it or not, but deciphering this question feels like trying to understand cats' mood swings. Complicated and probably impossible. But in this channel, we support each other and have full confidence that you will persevere in this challenging task. You're presented with 3x3 matrix. The matrix has numbers inside. The numbers are 3, 4, and then comes the missing number, followed by 6, 12, and 20, followed by 12, 36, and 80. You need to select your answer out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 3. Choice B, 4. Choice C, 7. And last but not least, choice D, 5. What makes this question interesting is the fact that it's a little unusual from the other ones. I'll explain it later, but for now, just focus on solving it. Give yourself enough time to come up with the solution. Are you ready? I am going to continue this adventure, and if you have an idea of how to understand cats' mood swings, or maybe have better ideas how to solve this question, make sure to post in comments. Remember I told you about unusual way of solving this question. Typically, missing number is calculated number, but in this case, missing number is one of the source numbers used for the calculations. The good thing is once you consider this, the pattern here is very simple. The left column number is multiplied by an increment and equals middle column number. And then middle column number multiplied by an increment equals the right column number. Increment is set per row. For example, for the top row, the increment is 2. For the middle row, the increment is 3. And for the bottom row, the increment is 4. Let's look at the calculations to better understand this example. Let's look at the first row. We have numbers 3, 6, and 12. 3 multiplied by 2, which is an increment, equals 6. Then 6 multiplied by 2 equals 12. For the middle row, the calculations are 4 multiplied by 3, which is the increment for the middle row, equals 12. 12 multiplied by 3 equals 36. And for the last row, we have our missing number, which is 5. 5 multiplied by 4 equals 20, and 20 multiplied by 4 equals 80. So the correct answer here is choice D, 5. Brace yourself for a question that's a little tougher than deciding what to watch on Netflix. No pressure though. You need to calculate the original price of the item, which was discounted by 20%, and the new price of the item is $72. Make sure you calculate it and select your answer out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, $90. Choice B, $93. Choice C, $96. And last but not least, choice D, $99. Well, let me give you a hint. If you think you know all the marketing tricks and you think that all original prices are $99, you might be up for a surprise. Because of this, let's embark on this mental journey together. I promise you no spoilers, just the mathematical twists and turns to keep us on our toes. The key to solving this challenge is to understand percentages. You need to recognize that a discount of 20% means that the price is 80% of the original. Let's set up an equation to represent the relationship between the original price, the discounted percentage, and the final price. There are two types of equations that you can set up, or maybe more. Maybe you can think of some more and share them in comments. The first one I created is x, which is the original price, minus 0.2 multiplied by x equals 72. Second equation might be 0.8x equals 72. To solve this equation and calculate x, we need to divide 72 by 0.8. So the final answer is $90. The tip I would like to leave you with is always double check your solution by plugging in the original price back into the problem to ensure it satisfies all given conditions. Let's do it together. Because our answer is 90, let's verify it. 90 minus 90 multiplied by 0.2 equals 90 minus 18, which equals 72. So the correct answer here is choice A, 90. With this question, prepare yourself for a cognitive challenge that promises to engage your intellect more than a challenging crossword puzzle. It's a mental marathon, and your brain is a star athlete here. You're presented with 4 circles. 3 circles has numbers. The numbers are 125, 49, 146, and then comes the missing number that you need to calculate. Let me point your attention to one factor that may or may not be important. The circles are connected with the lines. I will let you decide on the importance of this factor yourself. After you determine the calculation strategy, you need to select your final answer out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 56, choice B, 64, choice C, 81, and last but not least, choice D, 92. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Make sure to give yourself enough time, as the answer may not be obvious. Are you ready? Let's move forward and dive into the details of this cognitive puzzle together. Since we all think differently, afterward, feel free to share your solution in comment section as well, so we can all learn. Typically, when we see the number, we think of the number as a whole, but not in this particular question. In this question, the pattern is very unique. You need to use the digits in the left circle to create a subtraction expression. Calculated value of this expression is squared to calculate the value on the right. Let's look at the examples. For example, in the first row, we see numbers 125 on the left and number 49 on the right. But instead of treating 125 as a single whole number, we need to create an expression, 12 minus 5, which would be equal to 7, and 7 squared equals 49, which is exactly the number on the right. The tip here for you is when you see similar questions on a real test, consider breaking down numbers into smaller digits and doing mental math calculations with these digits. To calculate the missing value, let's look at the numbers 146 on the left and number 64 on the right. From 146, let's build an expression. 14 minus 6 equals 8, and 8 squared equals 64. So the correct answer here is choice B, 64. Now, get ready to flex those brain muscles in a workout that's more mentally stimulating than a Sudoku puzzle, and possibly even more satisfying when you crack it. You're presented with the series of numbers. The first number is 16. Second number is 4 times smaller than the first one, and the third number is 3 times larger than the second one. You need to calculate the sum of all 3 numbers and select your answer out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, 30, B, 32, C, 36, and last but not least, Choice D, 40. Take a close look to see if you can solve this puzzle. Are you ready? Let's move forward and dissect this problem together to see if your solution is better. And of course, if it is, please make sure to post it in comments. Oops, I forgot to mention that calculations should be done without the calculator. So let's exercise your mental brain power. To calculate second number, we need to divide first number by 4. 16 by 4 equals 4. Third number is calculated as 4 multiplied by 3 and equals 12. So the sequence of numbers now is 16, 4, and 12. Now we need to calculate the sum of all three numbers. And the tip I would like to leave you with is you need to pay attention to what is being asked in the question and always verify your calculations. Getting back to our sum of three numbers, 16 plus 4 plus 12 equals 32. So the correct answer here is choice B, 32. And now I have a question for you. But hey, I gotta warn you, trying to understand this particular question is like explaining the internet to your grandparents. A mix of confusion, patience, and a hint of disbelief that there is a right answer in the end. You're presented with the sequence of numbers. The numbers are 2, 7, 17, 37, and then comes the missing number, which you need to calculate and select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 57. Choice B, 67. Choice C, 77. And last but not least, choice D, 87. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the solution. And as I mentioned, this is your time to shine. Once you've solved this challenge, please make sure to post your answer in comments. This will give me an opportunity to comment on it and give you my feedback. Thanks for participating and good luck solving this question. With this question, I'd like to welcome you to the mental playground. This particular question is so delightful, it makes you solving it feel like finding the last slice of pizza at a party. Challenging, rewarding, and everyone wants a piece. About the pieces though, in this particular question, you need to fill the shape with 3 piece combinations. You need to find the combination that perfectly fits the target shape. And you need to select this combination out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Being an existing subscriber or potentially a future subscriber, I have full confidence that you can solve this challenge by giving yourself enough time to think about it. Are you ready? Let's compare the results of your amazing thinking with what I think might be a possible solution to ensure that you've got the right answer. Even though this problem seems complicated, I'm going to show you how to solve it in 3 simple steps. Step 1. In this problem, we have a target shape and we have 3 puzzle pieces for each answer. In step 1, we need to examine each puzzle piece and target shape very closely. Make sure you take note of all the shapes, angles, and how they can potentially fit together. In step 2, you need to experiment with rotating and flipping puzzle pieces. Sometimes, a piece that initially seemed incompatible can fit perfectly when you rotate it or when you flip it. And then in the step 3, you need to make sure you use the entire space within the target object and cover all the squares. Consider how each piece contributes to the overall completion of the target shape. You're probably eager to learn what the final answer is. The answer is choice B. I'm pretty sure you've guessed it right. The 3-step methodology I shared with you work very well for these types of question. But I'm going to share with you an amazing tip and trick on how you can expedite the process. There is a simple math trick we can use to accelerate finding the right solution. Take a close look to see how target shape is broken down into squares. There are 13 squares inside. Now let's count the squares in each one of the choices. The choice A has 12 squares, choice B has 13 squares, choice C has 12 squares, and choice D has 13. Using this simple trick, you can quickly eliminate choices A and C and work with remaining choices to find the correct answer. Here's a very interesting problem which shows how well you can do mental calculations. It will take another 5 minutes for the clock to strike 4 o'clock. How much time is left until the clock shows 3:45? You're presented with two clocks. One shows 5 minutes before 4 o'clock. Second one shows 3:45. And you need to select the answer out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 11 hours and 50 minutes. Choice B, 12 hours and 10 minutes. Choice C, 11 hours and 10 minutes. And last but not least, choice D, 10 minutes. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And if for whatever reason you think the answer should be different, please make sure to post your answer, solution and rationale in comments. Let's first determine how much time is actually on the clock. Based on the description, it will take another 5 minutes for the clock to strike 4 o'clock, which means that the clock now shows 3:55. Our next described point on the clock will be 3:45, which could be represented as 15:45, and clock will reach this point after around 12 hours to show 3:45 again. In the military time, which is frequently used in US, it's going to be 15:45, and it's going to be a little bit less than 15:55. Let's determine how much less than 12 hours it's going to be. Since the clock already passed 10 minutes from 3:45 to 3:55, it will take 10 minutes less than full 12 hours. This is why we can subtract 10 minutes from 12 hours to get to the answer of 11 hours and 50 minutes. So the correct answer here is choice A, 11 hours and 50 minutes. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to post your answer and rationale in comments. Here's the very interesting question, which is frequently used to test your analytical reasoning and spatial reasoning. You're presented with the set of objects, and you need to find the missing item. The set of objects consists of 3 rows. In the first row, you see the pigeon, arrow, and then the pigeon again. In the second row, you see the flower, arrow, and then the flower again. Then in the third row, you see the car, the arrow, and then comes the missing item. You need to select the missing item out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the solution. If you can't figure it out, consider pausing this video to see if you can get to the answer. Are you ready? I am moving forward to share with you my version and my rationale for the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, or if you have a better explanation, please make sure to post in comments. The actual answer to the question is very simple, but the question was designed to confuse you. The objects that you see on the left of the arrow and on the right of the arrow are reflections of each other. What's interesting here is that the objects are mirror images reflected either horizontally or vertically. You determine the axis of reflection based not on the direction of the arrow, but based on the direction which is rotated 90 degrees to the direction actually shown. Let's look at the actual example. Because the direction of the first arrow in the first row goes from top to bottom, the pigeon actually is reflected horizontally, not vertically. And to get to the correct answer, you need to rotate the pigeon 180 degrees. Let's look at the second object. We see the flowers with the yellow flower being on the left. And once we do the conversion, basically vertical reflection, because the arrow goes from left to right, we see that the yellow flower is now on the right. So the pattern here is that the arrow points to perpendicular direction of the actual reflection. For example, vertical direction of the arrow results in horizontal reflection and vice versa. Let's look at the third row to get to the correct answer. Because arrow goes from top to bottom, we need to use horizontal reflection, which means that the correct answer here is choice A. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to post your answer and rationale in comments. Let's explore this mind-boggling assessment test together. This question goes beyond typical assessment and validates your attention to details as well as your practical problem-solving techniques. You are presented with 3 expressions and you need to find the 4th one. The first expression is 1 by 2 plus 3. The second expression is 2 by 3 plus 4. The third expression is 3 by 4 plus 5. The 4th expression would need to be selected and rationalized out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 3 by 5 plus 4. Choice B, 4 by 5 plus 6. Choice C, 6 by 5 plus 4. And last but not least, choice D, 7 by 4 plus 5. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. Did you find your answer? I think I discovered my solution, so let's go ahead and move forward and dissect our problem-solving methods together. I'm eager to share with you my step-by-step process and encourage you to contribute your own ingenious insights in comments. The way I see the answer is that we need to ignore the mass signs, multiplication and plus signs, and focus on the numbers themselves. Because the pattern here is actually the sequence of numbers in each row. For example, let's take a look at the row 1. The numbers are 1, 2, 3. In second row, the numbers are 2, 3, and 4. In the third row, the numbers are 3, 4, and 5. So what we see is that the number in the next row starts with the middle number of the previous row, which means that correct numbers for the row 4 would be 4, 5, and 6. So the correct answer here is choice B, 4 by 5 plus 6. Get ready to test your own brain muscles. This question is making you think harder than a coffee addict trying to function without her morning brew. Can you seep your way through this mental maze and solve it on your own? You're presented with the ball located on the top of the stairs. As ball moves through the stairs, it changes the number. The first number in the ball is 2. Next number as it drops to the next stair is 6. Then it's 14, then it's 30, and then comes the missing number, which you need to calculate on your own and select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 56. Choice B, 60. Choice C, 62. And last but not least, choice D, 64. You need to embark on this mental adventure mission solo. And once you've conquered the challenge, share your triumph in comments for a lively discussion. I am eager to hear your Arabica-flavored solution. And remember, once you're done, treat yourself with the great coffee. You truly deserve a great treat after solving this challenge. Here's an amazing question to test your spatial reasoning. You're presented with the 3-dimensional view, and you need to select view from the opposite side out of 4 possible choices. The choices are A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can select the right solution. Please look closely, as it may not be as easy as it seems. Are you ready? Because I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And if you have a better way to solve it, obviously please make sure to post in comments. If your answer to this question was choice C, you answered it correctly. There are 4 objects on the original 3-dimensional image. We have a duck, we have a basketball, we have a smartphone, and we have a hammer, which is barely noticeable on the original picture. And the easiest way to solve this challenge is to select one object and track it on the opposite side. I selected a duck, but you can as well select a hammer or a smartphone. It is a little bit harder with the ball because it's in the middle and it's a symmetrical object. So let's go back to the duck. If you look at the original image, you see that the duck is looking to the left, and it is on the left side of the ball. Which means that if we look from the opposite side, the duck will be looking to the right and would be on the right side of the ball. We frequently see these types of questions on the test, so to help you solve these types of challenges, here are the views of these objects from different sides. Take a look at these objects from the right, from the left side, and take a look at this set of objects when duck and the ball have changed the position. I wanted to ask you, did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to post your answer and solution in comments, as well as you can supplement it with some tips on how to solve these types of challenges. With this question, I'd like to welcome you to the mental playground. This particular question is so delightful, it makes you solving it feel like finding the last slice of pizza at a party. Challenging, rewarding, and everyone wants a piece. About the pieces though, in this particular question, you need to fill the shape with 3-piece combinations. You need to find the combination that perfectly fits the target shape. And you need to select this combination out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Being an existing subscriber, or potentially a future subscriber, I have full confidence that you can solve this challenge by giving yourself enough time to think about it. Are you ready? Let's compare the results of your amazing thinking with what I think might be a possible solution to ensure that you've got the right answer. Even though this problem seems complicated, I'm going to show you how to solve it in 3 simple steps. Step 1. In this problem, we have a target shape and we have 3 puzzle pieces for each answer. In step 1, we need to examine each puzzle piece and target shape very closely. Make sure you take note of all the shapes, angles, and how they can potentially fit together. In step 2, you need to experiment with rotating and flipping puzzle pieces. Sometimes, a piece that initially seemed incompatible can fit perfectly when you rotate it or when you flip it. And then in the step 3, you need to make sure you use the entire space within the target object and cover all the squares. Consider how each piece contributes to the overall completion of the target shape. You're probably eager to learn what the final answer is. The answer is choice B. I'm pretty sure you've guessed it right. The 3-step methodology I shared with you work very well for these types of question, but I am going to share with you an amazing tip and trick on how you can expedite the process. There is a simple math trick we can use to accelerate finding the right solution. Take a close look to see how target shape is broken down into squares. There are 13 squares inside. Now let's count the squares in each one of the choices. The choice A has 12 squares, choice B has 13 squares, choice C has 12 squares, and choice D has 13. Using this simple trick, you can quickly eliminate choices A and C and work with remaining choices to find the correct answer. What's interesting about the question I'm about to present you is that it truly tests your analytical skills. You need to determine which number comes next in the sequence, and you're presented with the sequence of 6 numbers where 7th number is missing. The sequence is 23, 11, 20, 12, 18, 14, and then comes the missing number, which you need to select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 17. Choice B, 16, choice C, 22, and last but not least, choice D, 20. Take a close look, maybe do mental math calculations to see if you can come up with the answer. Seems unsolvable, isn't it? But be sure that the answer will look so simple as soon as I reveal it, just like in the magic trick. Maybe give yourself additional 15 to 20 seconds to see if you can come up with the answer. Are you ready? Because on my end, I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. If you are a frequent visitor or a subscriber to this channel, you know the rule. And rule is to find the pattern. But in this particular question, there are 2 independent patterns. Let's look closely so I can share them with you. The numbers 23, 20, 18, and 17 represent first pattern. And the next number is calculated by subtracting decrementing number from the previous number. Let's look at the example. 23 minus 3 equals 20. 20 minus 2 equals 18. You see that the 3 is decremented by 1 to get to 2. The next number is calculated as 18 minus 1, which is decrement from 2, equals 17. The even numbers, 11, 12, 14, and then the missing number, are calculated using the different pattern. In fact, the opposite pattern, where instead of decrement, we use increment. Let's look at the examples. 11 plus 1 equals 12. Then we increase 1 by additional number, and we increment 12 by 2, which leads us to a result of 14. Then the next number, the missing number, is calculated as 14 plus 3, which would be equal to 17. So the correct answer here is choice A, 17. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to post your answer and solution in comments. And now you can challenge yourself with this puzzling assessment test question by keeping in mind, though, that the process of finding the answer sharpens your ability to strategize and devise efficient solutions. You're presented with 3x3 matrix. Matrix consists of large squares, and each large square has 4 small squares inside. Small squares follow some sort of pattern, and this is something you need to determine and select the missing answer, which is the 9th square out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Take a close look, maybe pause this video to see if you can come up with the answer. I think I found my version of the answer, and I'm looking forward to share with you my problem-solving strategies. Let's dive into the solution together, and as usual, if you have any unique ideas, please share them in comments for everyone's benefit. To better understand the rows, let's mark each one of them with the letter. From top to bottom, the rows will be A, B, and C. Now let's look closely at the darker squares in the row A. From left to right, the darker square shifts clockwise when we go to the next item. For example, in the leftmost column, the darker square is in the upper right, then it shifts in the lower right, then it shifts to the lower left. If you look closely, the pattern continues in the row B. One important tip for you to solve these types of problems on your own is to look for the shapes shifting in clockwise or counterclockwise patterns to determine the final solution. Once we've determined the pattern, we know how to solve this challenge. The correct answer here will be choice B, where the next darker square will be in the upper right corner. You know, I'm a little bit tired of talking, so I'd like to give you an opportunity to shine. This question is for you to show your skills. I don't want to discourage you, but this test question is a little bit more complex than convincing your cat that the red dot is not the actual enemy. But I have full confidence that you can outsmart the laser pointer of perplexity. Let's get to the question. You're presented with 3 unusually but cool-looking shapes. These shapes have numbers on the outside and letter inside. The numbers are, in the first shape, 1, 2, and 3, and the letter inside is X. In the second shape, the numbers are 4, 5, and 6, and the letter inside is N. In the third shape, the numbers are 7, 8, and 9, and the letter inside is missing. And this is something that you need to select out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, Q. Choice B, R. Choice C, S. And last but not least, choice D, T. Remember, you need to embark on this mission solo. Once you've conquered the challenge, share your triumph in comments for a lively discussion. I am eager to hear your amazing solution. Make sure to post your answer in comments, and I will be there to share my feedback. Thanks for participating, and good luck solving the challenge. Let's challenge ourselves with this puzzling assessment test question by keeping in mind that the process of finding the answer sharpens your ability to visualize objects, make mental spatial decisions, and devise efficient solutions. You're presented with the partial object, which consists of squares, small blue squares. But your goal is to build the large square by selecting 1 out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. All these answer choices look so similar. But wait a second, I think I might know how to solve it. So, having found my answer, I'm looking forward to share it with you and share all my problem-solving strategies. Let's dive into solution together, and obviously if you have any unique ideas, please share them in comments for everyone's benefit. Let's first confirm at what we're dealing with here. We have a target square which will have a size 5 by 5. Target square consists of the small squares, and some of the small squares at the bottom part of the large square are missing. Our goal is to find the shape which fits perfectly to complete the large square. The question is how? I think one of the best ways to do it might be to break the large square into the column, and then look at how many small squares are missing per column. If we do that, we will see that for the leftmost column, the number of missing small squares would be 4. For the second column, we would be missing 1 square. Then we would be missing 3 squares, and then we would be missing 1 square. For the 5th column, we will not be missing any squares. Based on this, let's select the target shape out of the presented choices. Is choice D. Let's try to fit it. and I think it fits perfectly. Did you come up with the different answer? Or maybe you know the better way to solve it? Please make sure to post in comments so we can all learn. I love this question because it really boosts your IQ and improves your intelligence. You're presented with 3 rows of objects. Each object represents a square and circle inside. You need to select the missing object out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the solution. I have full confidence that you figured it out by now. And this is why I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. To better solve this challenge, let's assign columns and rows to each object here in the picture. We will have columns A, B, and C, and rows 1, 2, and 3. This would allow us to reference objects better. As you might have guessed, each row describes the pattern of ball bouncing against the wall. Let's start by looking at the object A1. This is where the ball in the upper left corner, and it moves downwards toward the middle of the bottom section. And this is where exactly we see the ball in the object B1. After that, ball bounces and moves upward, and this is how we see it in C1. When ball bounces against the wall, it travels in the direction based on the angle of the initial impact. After the initial impact, the ball will continue moving in the new direction until acted upon by another force, such as hitting another wall or an object. Let's confirm this pattern by looking at the row 2. In the object A2, we see the ball against the left wall. Then it moves toward the bottom wall, and then bounces against the bottom wall, and then moves toward the right wall. Knowing the pattern, we can easily detect the answer now. If you look closely at the picture, the ball in the row 3 moves from the position 1 to the position 2 and then to the position 3. So the correct answer here is choice C. Did you get to the same answer? Or maybe you know the tips how to solve these problems better. Please make sure to post and share them in comments so we can all learn. Here's a very interesting question where answer is absolutely not obvious. You're presented with interestingly looking shapes. On top of the shape is triangle. On the bottom left and on the bottom right, there are squares. There are numbers inside the triangle, and there are also numbers inside the squares. Let's take a close look. The first object has number 5 inside the triangle, and number 3 in the left square, and number 17 in the right square. Second object has number 4 inside the triangle, and numbers 5 and 22 inside the squares. The third object has number 3 inside the square, and numbers 8 and 26 inside the squares. The fourth object has number 2 inside of the triangle, number 7 in the left square, and then comes the missing number inside the right square. And did I mention that all objects are of different colors? If we go from left to right, we start with red on the left, next goes light blue, yellow, and then darker blue. And obviously you're the one who needs to make sense out of it and calculate the missing number. Once calculated, select the final answer out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 14. Choice B, 25. Choice C, 16. And last but not least, choice D, 20. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the solution. Are you ready? Because on my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. If you're a frequent visitor to this channel, or even better if you're a subscriber, you probably know that the key to solving these types of challenges is to understand the pattern. And the pattern here is that the number in the right square is calculated. And it's calculated by multiplying the number inside of the triangle onto the left square number. And on top of this multiplication, you also add 2 to the end result of the calculation. Let's look at the example. If we multiply 5 by 3 in the first object, the end result of this calculation would be 15. Then we add 2 to 15, and that's how we get to the number in the right square, which is 17. Let's look at the second example. 4 multiplied by 5 equals 20, plus 2 equals 22. Now let's move to the third object. 3 multiplied by 8 is 24, plus 2 equals 26. And now comes the missing number. To calculate it, we need to multiply 2 by 7, which would be equal to 14. And then add 2, and end result of this would be 16. So the correct answer here is choice C, 16. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to post your answer and solution in comments. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you for helping us to become one of the largest YouTube channels to help people become smarter, increase your IQ, and to pass any test. If the content of this video was helpful, please make sure to click the like button to help YouTube algorithm promote this video and help other people to find it faster. Giving us a like is also a way for you to tell us that you need more content like this, and when you tell us, we will deliver it for you in the future. For links to free and premium resources, please check the description and comments of this video. You can also go directly to our website, howtoanalyzedata.net, to download the materials related to this topic. I really appreciate your endorsement, support, and patronage of this channel. And thank you for considering to become a member and considering to subscribe. Please leave feedback, suggestions, or corrections in comments. And all the best on your journey. I'll see you in my next video.